Hi guys. So we're gonna start in 1 minute. Hello. But for those that are here already, please grab a block. You can hear Barney shouting at me. That's my cat, not my child, although my child. A block and also a strap. And if you don't have a block or strap, you can use like a long jumper or a tie or your bathrobe strap or a Harry Potter book or a dictionary or Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings book works too. Give me a little tippy tap only if like something's wrong and you can't hear me. I think everything is fine. I'm just gonna triple check myself. Great stuff. Here's Barney. Star of the show. Right, so we're here to be chatting about low back pain and sciatica. So firstly, I'd definitely also like to say that low back pain doesn't mean you have sciatica. But yeah, if you have sciatica, you definitely have low back pain. And they can be two very different things, but we're sort of going to cover a range of general things that are helpful to do if you have one or the other. And there's sort of stuff that we can do to, sorry, I'm looking at my notes, to like relieve the pressure and also strengthen the back, both with both would be very helpful in alleviating, those two problems. However, I also like to say, like, if it's actually, really you're in really, really bad pain, I'm not saying doing this or, yoga is solely the answer. Please go see a doctor because there can be very varying levels of pain, and it could be arthritis, that is causing the problem, or something else like disc problems that you really need to go and see a doctor about. So this is to kind of help, but it's not the complete answer as well. It's just something you could add, something to think about. That's very important. I am not a doctor. Okay, cool. So firstly, I guess we'll cover a little bit about sciatica. And I'm sure, I don't know if a lot of you have it. Feel free to let me know if you do, and this helps. But I do on one side. I have a wonky spine on the bottom of my left, so I actually get quite a bit. Well, sometimes, if it's not managed properly by being silly, sciatic pain on my left sciatic nerve. So I know this pain very well. So basically, the sciatic nerves run from the lumbar spine and they come out and they run down past the bum all the way to the back of the legs, all the way to the toes, and they're about this thick, your pinky size thick, and they're I think the biggest nerves in the body, if I'm right. Yes, largest nerves in the body. So we get pain when the nerve fibers feel pinched or irritated, and if you can imagine, inside the body, everything is so squashed with all our organs and muscles, and everything's really like this. And to see nerves go through, which I have inside a body, is pretty crazy that we're actually not in more pain. It's mental because the kind of spaces, there's really no space that nerves have to run through, are like non-existent. So you can imagine, if there's any like imbalance or muscle flare-ups in the body, it's almost very easy for pain to happen to your nerves. It's tight in there, so tight. So like I said, back pain doesn't always relate to sciatica. It can be because of osteoarthritis, so the narrowing of the cavities where your nerves would run through. Please see a doctor, or maybe you're managing that already. And also, that I'm sure you've heard of a lot about piriformis syndrome. So it's a hip extensor. It's a muscle that goes from your sacrum out to the femur head at the back, and it helps you externally rotate. So this can become quite weak and tight, which so it's, let's say if you imagine it's plastered behind like this at the back of your bum, and the sciatic nerve runs here, and so if it's tight, it sort of presses on the nerve and it can cause a lot of pain. So that is another thing that can happen. So not all back pain, is similar, but we're going to look at how to alleviate pressure away from, not away because it can't really go away, it's really tight in there, but alleviate pressure from the sciatic nerve being pressed too much. All right, so I'll waffle only a little bit more, but these are all important things. So the main aims that we're trying to do is to strengthen the back, right? So slouching and kind of a bad posture can really exacerbate this pain. So strengthening the back so that, our muscles have a nice memory, nice strength to be upright and to encourage a correct lumbar, a neutral for you, lumbar curve here, right? So it's not too hunched, it's not too sticking out, but something that is good for you, for your body. And also we're going to see how we can modify things to relieve pressure on the nerves that are coming out of our backs. Okay, so first thing, to strengthen, and unfortunately for those who are really loving like fast practices or intense exercise, you're gonna have to change up the pace. So if you really have sciatic pain and your pain is getting worse and worse, or back pain or whatever pain, any pain, you need to like dial it back and move slow. So think about your yoga practice as something that's going to last you a long time. So don't feel like, oh, but in the next year I wanted to do this, or I need lots of movement to feel sane. Like, we have to look after our bodies, look after our minds. No pain. So you're going to have to slow it down. I'm really sorry to tell you that. And maybe, and the practice might evolve in just, it could be a short time, could be a longer time, where you're doing more repetitions of things that will relieve and strengthen, holding things for longer. So sounds a bit like Hatha and Yin, and ensuring proper alignment when you're doing things. So slowing the pace will help all this stuff. How we relieve pressure is, like I said, taking a break from your usual activities, and you're going to do like how, if you have an allergy, so doing the method of elimination of what is causing you pain. You got to take that off for now. This thing's causing you pain, take that off. So being quite mindful about noticing what's happening, what's causing you pain. A lot of things that can cause sciatic pain or pain in the lower back is things that are imbalanced. So for example, cycling, where your hips can kind of do this, that can exacerbate it for sure. And let's say you are continuing your practice because you're kind of managing it quite well. We basically want to go with the idea of not forcing the hips to twist so much. So we'll look at that in a second with warriors, right? So the feet and how we turn the hips might be different for you to change around for sciatic pain. So let's begin. Right, so just taking you a few things that might be helpful to alleviate the pain, and then we'll also talk about how to modify things slightly for your practice. Okay, so we're going to start lying down, and just generally anything lying down is going to be great for you because gravity is going to take some of the pressure off the body. And with this, I don't want you to feel like you have to flatten your back into the floor. What we do want to try and cultivate is this natural curve that happens in the back. Little, you can kind of slide your hand under. So give that a tiny go. Okay, so actually just take the strap near you. We won't need it now. Let's lengthen one leg out. And now if that causes you pain, you can also put the foot up on the mat, okay? And then just gently pulling the knee into the chest. So if you're used to rigorous yoga practice, this stuff might seem really boring, but you have to change up the pace to sort of, again, slow down and figure out what movements don't cause you pain, because it's really not nice, when you're walking and getting sciatic pain. So just squeezing it nicely here. Now, I want you to push your shin up into your hands as you push your hands down into the shin. So you're keeping it not moving, but quite actively pushing each other into each other. And then releasing. Let's do the other side. Right leg out, left leg in, and then pushing up with the shin, pushing down with the hands. So this is a thing called used to like reset the sacrum. So mine actually, I don't know, something in my back wiggles around quite a lot. Has a nice clunk. This can really help. Okay, and stretching out the left leg. Let's bring that right leg up. So if you can, actually, let's just use the strap, because why not? We're dialing it in. Even if you can hold your toes, let's use the strap. Okay, again, no pressure to flatten the back on the floor. I want you to just explore pulling the leg up straight and seeing if you can kind of do this and noticing if there's any pain, right? So if you have sciatica really bad, putting the leg straight can really exacerbate the pain. If so, you need to bend the knee. And think about just keeping relaxed in the hips and let them be level, to each other. Don't feel like you need to stretch too much or do anything. We're just going to hold for a second. So wherever you are, whether the knee is bent or the leg is straight, we're not overstretching. Again, we're just trying to do things that relieve pressure. And also, it's a big experiment on yourself to start noting what things cause you pain. Nice. Let's bend the knee slightly so you don't have to clamp this two together too much. We're going to pull the toes so they face the left-hand side, so the other side. And this is a little piriformis and glute stretch. So it's really not that severe. We're literally just pulling the toes to the left. It's quite nice with a strap if you've got one. And then maybe with your right hand, you can pull the knee to the body. Again, don't just do what I say. Check if you feel any pain. No pain, please. And so this works to stretch out the glutes, broaden the back. So now using your right hand, kind of taking the knee towards the left side. You should feel it in your glutes. So often tight glutes, tight hamstrings can contribute to really bad posture and also kind of cause everything in your low back to seize up. So we're trying to release them. Okay, relaxing the leg back up, and then let's try the other side. So left leg, firstly, again, playing with straight up. You don't feel like you have to squash your lower back in. And then you're going to hold where it works. And if anyone kind of notices after you've done a movement, there's any pain or too much tingling or sensation, you're just going to make a note in your head, in your notebook, and maybe you dial it back. It's all about dialing back. It's not something everyone wants to hear. But if you're in pain, you have to. It's one of the principles in yoga, ahimsa, to not cause pain. And that's to yourself and to others. Nice. So pulling the toes to the right and then left hand on the knee, just going to pull the knee towards the armpit. And again, don't crank it and go crazy. Really figure out if this is fine for you. The action here is to stretch out the glutes and stretch out the piriformis at the back. And then now taking it towards the right armpit. Obviously not completely. So I'm not saying this is like you have to do all these. You're going to definitely need to experiment and see which ones of, these exercises we're talking about help or not help. Okay, releasing everything, taking the right ankle over the left. So I know the postures maybe like this or the one we've just done are very similar to pigeon pose, right? Like you're doing pigeon pose and you hear quite a lot everywhere all the time. Pigeon pose is great if you have sciatica. It's kind of not quite true. Again, it's a trial and error for you to practice it and then see if you hurt or not. More often than not, it kind of exacerbates the condition because your hips are not level and the weight of your whole body is pushing down, into your hips and onto the floor. So if you can do it this way, lying down, where you've got a lot more support for your hips and your back on the floor, this is a much better way to do your pigeon. So pigeon doesn't necessarily help back pain or sciatic pain. Doing pigeon similar postures on the floor like this will definitely work better. All right, so releasing the legs and just give yourself a little shake. So that really works to broaden and stretch the back. It should feel quite nice in your bum at the moment. Let's come to standing. So nicely standing. Firstly, if we think about where the feet are positioned, this is quite, ooh, my head's cut off. This is quite a good one. But you're going to see how you stand. Now, what we want to do, again, is to relieve any squeezing in the glutes, right? Any tightness in the lower back. So actually, even standing, turning the toes in slightly, like not obviously too much, but slightly. Toes more forward, so you're leading forward with your second toe and the heel slightly out, kind of loosens off the bum. And you can try that by taking it out and then standing and your glutes kind of squish together. So we're going to change the way we stand. Okay? Toes to the front, bum can relax. And let's just hold it here. And maybe playing with both ways. So as you do that, I'm just going to zoom out a little so you can see my face. There we go. You can see all my mess in the front. Okay, so while your toes face forward, if you're near a table, which I'm not, I'm near here, it's quite nice to forward fold with the support of something. So in general, forward folding in your yoga practice while you have sciatic nerve pain is not a good idea. So you're going to have to modify them. And why it's not, it's because kind of too much pressure already with a sensitive lower back can really cause more pain and damage than the niceness for you to forward fold. So you're going to have to modify your forward folds by just using support like this. So you only go a little bit halfway. If you've got a whole table in front of you, you can literally lie your whole body on, and that feels quite nice. So this can really relieve pain, and you're gonna have to take forward folds through that process of elimination out of your practice, or dial it back like crazy so it's not too much of a fold whatsoever, right? Like 30%, as in 30% doing it. Okay, coming up. That's the toes and the feet. Okay, taking it to the wall now. So everything is more about creating more support for yourself. We're going to play with Trikonasana with the wall. So taking your back foot and kind of putting that long edge to the wall. The left foot comes out and you're going to take the block right here. Using support. So having the back foot towards the wall can really, just help like not create any gluteal a pressure to squeeze and hold your posture. Everything is about how you can now kind of pad yourself out with the nice little luxuries around you, like the wall. Okay. And so actually, this will just happen naturally. Your foot will push into the wall. And again, you're going to dial back your asana practice through this elimination process. So the block, even though you can reach the toes, use a block. Again, going so we have not too much pressure. And this one's quite nice as well. If you take the top arm towards your left, it's quite nice to stretch out the whole side on the right. And so really all we're considering as we move, you can put your arm up and just move it again, is how we can keep a neutral spine to kind of reset it all, and how we can mobilize our lower back, stretch the glutes, stretch the hamstrings. Okay, and then let's go into side angles. So same thing, just slide your foot forward. Keep the back foot on the wall for support. Move your block further forward so that you can go on the outside of the foot or the inside of the foot. And again, just that little help with the wall where your back foot can rest against it can really take out a lot of the strain. And here, the arm position, for any arm stretching, you can play with anything. The main thing is the foot. So let's try it on the other side just because we've done it on this side. So taking it all out and going with the left foot against the wall. Trikonasana first. Block anywhere, inside or outside of the leg is fine. Okay, and letting the hips stack and nicely open. You can either hold. I really find this one quite effective, taking the arm kind of over to your ear, because it really helps me stretch out if the side of my back is feeling tight. So I'm taking the arm to the ear and then further pulling the fingers away from me. And then trying side angles, just slide the right foot slightly more forward. Isn't it nice with the wall being your help at the back? Okay, so you should feel it. For me, I get the sciatic pain. If I do, it's on the left side. So this is really a nice stretch, and I immediately feel it on the tight muscles I have on the left side of the back. So I hope you're feeling a nice stretch too. Again, for those who are used to faster practice, you may just need to dial it down until the pain is under control. And then let's come away. Okay, so just come to sit on your mat. Basically, support. What we want to avoid is lots of forward bends that are to your maximum, because we don't want to, if your back is already strained, we don't want to cause any more, give it any more to think about. So everything is much easier. You can forward bend on the floor, in your typical forward folds, but be mindful. Again, if you're going to your maximum, when you come up and you're in pain, it's too much. It's too much. So maybe like way less than half, it could be a big stack of pillows in front of you, and this is your forward fold. So dialing it all back. Again, not something that most of you want to hear, but it's essential. No contracting the glutes. So for example, poses like wheel, bridge, if you can do them with the feet in mind, we're going to look at that at the end, or things like bow or dancer, anything that squeezes your bum, you're going to have to take out. You're going to have to take out for now. Let's look at warrior before we go to the floor. I'm just going to check the time. Cool. We've got a little bit of time. So how are you going to modify your warriors? Even though, the main typical alignment tip is really to square the hips, push the foot down, get the left hip forward, push into the knee. For those who have sciatic pain and low back pain, it's maybe not the best thing to do. So again, modify. Always, whatever a teacher says, just take into account your own situation before you do it. Right? So maybe for you, it's better for your toes to face the same way, because again, we're working with neutral, kind of this, always coming back to this nice standing position. Like when we're lying down, everything's quite supported. And it could be that you just bend the knee, or maybe in your warriors, you just keep moving. Again, going for mobilization rather than back foot, heel down, squeeze, rotate the hips forward, because actually too much, if you're under strain, which your back will be, and then strain together with rotation definitely can throw a back out. So just, again, take it mindfully. And then if you find doing warriors at all exacerbates your pain, you're going to have to take them out for now. So it's all about just seeing how you can change your practice. Again, squaring off the hips really helps. So let's try it on the other side if you're doing this with me. And again, just maybe do a typical warrior and kind of see, okay, you can see why, the glutes need to squeeze. It's a lot of twisting and rotating. So that's why if pain, you kind of want to keep everything more pain-free when nothing needs to work too hard. So you're going to keep it a bit more fluid when you're in your warriors. It doesn't mean it's easier. Nice. Cool. And coming down to the floor. So we've got these last 5 minutes. We're just going to go all the way down to the floor. Okay, come onto our fronts. And I'm just going to do one little locust with you. So generally, I wouldn't suggest trying to do back strengtheners until the pain has subsided. Okay, so this is once the pain has subsided, which is why you need to give it some time, then you can work on strengthening the back, right? We can't do it too early because it could cause more pain. So it really needs to be managed before, okay, let's bring in the strengthening aspect. Now, when you do, you're going to work on cobras, okay, but try and relax the bum. So for me, the feet need to be a little wide. Have a play for you. And Shalabhasana. So maybe slightly lower, pulling the chest up, shoulders move behind. I'm only pushing maybe the toes slightly into the floor. So, doing the back strengthening does require a tiny bit of glute activation and actually quite a lot later on. So that's why you have to do it when you're pain-free. So you can take the hands behind you. You can work a little bit more with upper back strengthening first. And there's lots of arm positions you can try as you hold this. Kind of hands can come under the shoulders. You can bring the arms above. If it's ever too much, you're going to lower the degree that you're lifted. Okay, eventually, if you have no pain, maybe the feet can come closer together and you can lift the legs up as well. Okay, I'm not going to make you do it because I don't know how much pain you're in. So I don't want to encourage you to do that until the pain is gone. And then when you do, you're going to work into doing reps of them, maybe starting with strengthening the upper back only, leaving the legs quite relaxed. And then really when you have no pain, you can definitely work in locusts, cobra, lifting both the hands and the legs off the floor. Okay, so that comes later. All right, so coming to end, really, really nice and simple, legs up the wall. So shuffle yourself, and this always looks more awkward than it is. So maybe it's actually quite awkward to get in. Bum sort of near the wall. If that's uncomfortable, just wriggle your bum away from the wall a little. I'm gonna let the legs rest at the top. And that's it. So staying there, I'm just gonna time check. Nice, we've got a few minutes here. And again, I want you to just maybe relax the back. So maybe to end, you could, it says connections. Oh, I'm back. Maybe at the end, while you're lying with the legs up the wall, you can just keep working with hip mobilization. So as you're lying down, I'm going to show you, not on the wall, but here, you can try and, like lift the lower back of the floor, squeeze it in, nice and gentle, before settling into rest. So keeping those legs on the wall after you've done some hip mobilization, allowing yourself to just rest. And I know if you're frustrated, it is really frustrating. It really is when you're in pain. But really going with the principle in yoga of ahimsa, non-violence, non-aggression, which really counts also to ourselves as we practice. And working to the concept that our practice, we really want it to last over many, many years of our life. So slowing things down, and having to change up our routine or what we want to do for a time is a blip in the whole grand scheme of things. Just taking kind of maybe 30 more seconds just lying here. As you lie here, encourage your shoulders to relax. If your legs are uncomfortable up on the wall, maybe you can shuffle on your mat and go for regular shavasana. For lower back pain, I highly recommend a bolster under the knees or Again, remember how we stood? The toes turn in to broaden out the back, to relax the glutes, and then the knees rest on each other. And wherever you found your stopping point, your little rest point, and just let the whole body sink into the floor. Nice. Everyone bringing the knees into the chest, having a tiny little roll around. Roll up to either side of your mat, of your body, and meet me in seated. Nice, bringing palms in prayer. Let's end with an Om together. Namaste. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to have to dash real quick to get to the other class. It's so funny, dash with my fingers. The Ashtanga with Breathwork class, which is now. But if you have any questions about this at all, you can message me on Instagram or just email the studio, contact@trikayoga.co.uk, and the person at the desk will pass it to me. Let me know if this helps, and hopefully it does, and I'll see you next time. I will put the topic on what's next on the Instagram, or it'll be on the schedule. I think we're gonna do wrists. Yeah, for anyone with wrist pain, how to practice, how to modify your practice, and how to strengthen the wrists over time. Cool. Thank you. Bye bye.